Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another malicious compliance Reddit video. In our first story, you are stealing commissions. You don't actually sell. Let's jump right in. I'm a service writer for a vehicle maintenance repair shop. I have the capability to actually do the work, but I make more money for my company in sales, services, and parts. So my job started when I came in 2 years ago from a different company. They hired me because not only can I sell, but I can complete the services that I sell. Fast forward about 6 months and they are so impressed with my sales that they inform me that I'm only to perform the work if there's absolutely no other technicians available to complete the job within a timely manner. I would still be receiving my bonus for sales, as the name implies, sales bonus. Great. So I get on it. I'm breaking records, bringing in new clients, teaching others to sell like I do. I'm making good money. Fast forward a bit more and they transfer me to another location where I'm quickly outshining their top service writer who was never given the order to only sell. I'm still expected to just sell. I checked when I was transferred. Shortly thereafter, said other service writer decides to get in touch with the owners and say that I'm stealing commissions. The way commission works is this. Service writer, whoever sells the job or part, gets some. Person performing the job gets some. So if you do both, you get more on that specific job. Pause here for a note. Well, I'm doing my sales job long-term by now. I've informed customers on previous visits that they are coming up due for such and such services. They come back and ask for me because, let's face it, I know my stuff, to get said services completed on schedule. Thus, they're coming in requesting services. Returning to the complaint that I'm stealing, the other service writer complained that because I'm not actually doing the work, I shouldn't receive any commission at all for services. He backs it up with the fact that customers are coming in requesting services, and therefore I'm not actually doing any actual selling, simply benefiting from customers crossing my path who are asking for commissionable services. Keep in mind, these are customers I've reached already and put in for future sales, on top of new sales that I work for on the spot as well. The owner decided to take his side. Thus, my new job description is to simply service write. No commission, don't perform services, customer service only. You don't actually sell. These customers come in asking for these services, so you shouldn't benefit from this. Again, I'm fully aware that these are my previous customers, whom I've given heads up that they will soon be due for a certain service, but I keep my mouth shut. Alrighty then, I won't actually sell. I work for a bit of spare income. My husband is a wonderful mechanic who works at my original store, and he makes the big bucks in flag hours. Within a month, sales and services dropped dramatically, as customers weren't coming in requesting commissionable services, and I'm no longer pushing sales at all. Why make them money if I'm not also making money? I'm not even allowed to perform the services, so there's no way that I can make commission at this point. Sometime later, the owner drops in wanting to know why the store suddenly stopped making sales. So I told him, I don't actually sell, so my commission stopped coming in, sir. A good meeting with the other service writer later, and I moved back to my other store. Redeemed of any accusations of theft, with a raise, commissions are back to the way they used to be, and my sales have never been better. The other service writer? He's just a technician now, not even allowed to work with the customers at all. Maybe a small victory, but a victory all the same. Story number 2. Go to the tenancy tribunal? If you say so. New Zealand has some particularly predatory property managers. Their prey is university students and young families who live in our bigger cities. There are stories in our news quite frequently about how poorly they treat tenants. I spent my 20s living in rental properties in Wellington. Most of the houses I lived in were super damp, mold-ridden crap heaps. They were also super expensive. They are even worse now. Fortunately, New Zealand has a fantastic tenancy tribunal who are sick of property managers preying on young people who do not have a lot of money. When I was about 28, my now wife and I found a beautiful house in a suburb called Berhampore, close to the city, quiet area, near a bus stop, plenty of space including a pretty garden in the back, and most importantly, not expensive. A perfect house. Just before we moved in, I took about 200 photos of the house. I'd become very weary of how easily property managers could rake a tenant over the coals for damage, garbage, etc. the previous tenant had left behind. We spent about a year and a half living there without incident. We had to report to the property manager that trash had been left under the house by the previous tenants, and they dealt with it well. When we needed to install high-speed broadband, they were easy to deal with and everything seemed to be going swimmingly. About 4 months prior to the end of our lease, I was offered a brewing job in the United States. I informed our property manager that we would need to break our lease earlier than expected, to which she replied, "No problem. Let's arrange a time to meet." Prior to meeting with her, I researched her company's policy on moving out of rental properties prior to the agreed date. The company policy was that if a tenant broke the agreement early, then the tenant would have to pay $750 to the property manager. This was supposedly to cover the listing fee. I should mention at this point that listing properties in Wellington was not challenging nor expensive. Most properties were filled within a week. Some property managers were even expecting people to show up with cash to cover bond plus first month's rent when they were having viewings of the property. There was no way that $750 was going towards just the listing fee. When I went into our meeting, I told her that we were willing to ensure the property was cleaner than when we arrived, and also we were willing to offer an extra $200 for moving out prior to the lease ending. At that point, she showed me the company policy, which stated leaving prior to the end of the agreed lease date would mean a $750 fee for us as the tenants. I acted flabbergasted, as one would to hear of this shocking news. At this point, our property manager explained to me that the tenants before my wife and I were in a similar situation and had left prior to the agreed date. I explained to her that this was extortion and I thought it was incredibly unfair. I repeated to her that we had offered her $200 to help with relisting the property and that we were willing to list it ourselves. I also said to her that it was ridiculous to think that it would cost more than $100 to list and fill that property. She explained to me that is what the tenants before you did, paid the $750, and that's just what everyone does. To which I replied, just because everyone else does it doesn't mean it's right. We argued some more and left it unresolved. On my way out of her office, she said, "If this is still an issue, you should get in touch with the tenancy tribunal." With the rage of 1,000 suns and the ability to bottle emotions like a true Catholic, I managed to respond, "I'll do that." As soon as I got home, I went on the tenancy tribunal website and filed a complaint against the company she represented. Within a day, the tribunal had agreed to help me and contacted the property manager. In turn, she emailed me begging for mercy. "If you agree to drop the complaint, we won't charge you anything. The owner is very disappointed, but if you leave the house in a good state, there will be no more issues." We're not absolute trash, so of course we cleaned the place thoroughly. We moved out without paying them a dime, but the real reward came when I saw her in the city and greeted her with a big smile and wave. I didn't think that I had the power of invisibility, but she didn't seem to see me at all. Here's an edit for all of you getting upset about us signing the lease knowing that we didn't. It wasn't included in the agreement, and also, chill out. This is a story of malicious compliance. I'm not trying to pretend I'm some amazing person who fought for equality and justice for all. Story 3. Just hit my car and we're even, okay? This one is short and sweet. I went to the grocery store and after buying all of my stuff, I went to the parking lot. As I was getting close to my car, another one parked next to mine and opened the door wide open, hitting my car. "Hey! You just hit my car." The butthole just turned around and said, "Just hit my car and we're even, okay?" and walked away. Luckily, there was a security guard nearby, and I asked him if he witnessed what the guy said. The security guard just said, "Yep," and turned away. He knew what was coming. I pretty much gathered all of my strength and kicked his door so hard with the bottom of my foot that I left a huge dent across his entire driver's door. Then I just got into my car and left. I never got a citation or a ticket. I was never even contacted about it. This is John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to be the first to know when the next one drops, subscribe and click on that notifications bell. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.